Good afternoon.
Okay. Hey, Julie, I'm gonna go ahead and open. Vice Mayor.
Hi there.
Good afternoon.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready to go, Fernando?
Yes.
All right, well, it is 4:06 and we will call this meeting to order and note the members virtually, Julia Liu and Vice Mayor Kelly Carrillo, and those in attendance. Everybody's here today. Oh, that is good. Okay, we'll now go into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the audit committee on any scheduled matter. Unless additional time is authorized by the committee, all commentaries shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual and no more than 15 minutes total. I don't see anyone in here that would like to say anything. And do we have anyone on virtually? I don't see anyone on there. Okay, we'll move on to the scheduled matters. The approval of the draft minutes of September the 28th. Everyone's had time to look at them. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Lawless. Please state if you're in favor of it by saying aye. Aye.
Hi.
Okay, unanimous. We'll now move on to the review of barn theater agreement. I believe this is more of an update.
Yes, we're still waiting for information from title. So we're just going to continue the matter. I let Alan know so that they knew they didn't need to be here today.
Okay,
I have just one question. Is waiting on this affecting the operation of the barn in any way? Is this? you know?
Alan did not indicate so, as far as I know. Did they have any pending applications for anything? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
okay.
I guess because Donnie, are you aware of anything that they're?
I haven't seen any special events.
All right. Then we'll now move on to item number 3, the review of the Porterville Kiwanis Club Agreement. Who's gonna do that?
Donnie, you want to introduce it?
It's only been since 2000.
Yeah, I can try. The last, according to what was in your packet, it looks like it had gone to closed session August 18 of 2009. And from there, I think the information and history ceased as far as I'm not sure updates after that, but the agreement has been expired since before that. And from what I could tell in that closed session, I was not in the closed session, but it seemed like there was multiple issues that was going to be discussed at that time with the agreement, and whether the Kiwanis were adhering to a lot of different items within the agreement. And then that's unfortunately where I don't know after that where it stood. But as of today, they're still, from what I understand, I haven't been in communication with them, but it appears that there are people still in there in the building. From what I've heard secondhand, a while back, there's even a smaller Kiwanis that used to meet actually in the old library. Both of them, I think, were down to very, very, very few members. And as far as youth activities, which is what the main emphasis of this agreement is, I'm not really aware of how many of those take place anymore, or how active they are with anything. So other than that, I wish I had more specific information, but that's what I know at the moment.
I just have a question. Do they have a board, like a board? The Kiwanis?
If so, they have not submitted anything to at least my office.
Okay. Well, that would lead to the next question. Who would be the person that it would supposedly be the conduit, the contact person?
Though I don't know that for sure. Bertha Martinez, I believe is her last name. Yarborough. She was one that is a city employee, and so we can contact her to see if she's still involved. It seems like she's been the one that's been a Kiwanis member and possibly on the board for years. So I could definitely reach out to her and find out if they do have a existing board.
Okay, that, I know that the last, she was at a community, TKHCC, Tulare Kings Hispanic Chamber Luncheon, promoting the Kiwanis and promoting, something to that regard under the oral communications of their luncheon.
Yeah, they have an event that they're having at Galaxy Theaters as a, well, it's a happy birthday bird. But yeah, it was initially proposed to happen in Centennial Park and then was relocated out. That was proposed about 2 months ago. And that was by Kiwanis as the sponsoring agency, but instead of it going to council as a community civic event, it was moved over to Galaxy 9 as a temporary use permit.
So there's somebody that would be a contact person, and I know that at that event that was announced by Burge. She was the one that made the announcement. Vice Mayor, do you have any questions on this to this regard?
I lost you guys for a minute. I think I lost connection and it popped back on. But I heard you say that there was one person that we probably should contact, but we are not sure if there's a board. And that's all I heard. Was there a suggestion for next steps?
I have another, I'm just gonna, this is a comment, because if there is a board, are they operating as a nonprofit?
We can check their nonprofit.
Okay.
As to how that is. They when they submitted their community civic event application, they indicated that they were a current 501c3.
Okay.
Well, they probably operate under the umbrella of the broader Kiwanis organization.
Right.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
They have to submit something to the city every year, since it's the building that's.
And in my memory, I was racking my brain about 2009, and at that particular time, Pedro Martinez was a member. He was on council and was a member of the club. I don't know if he still is or not. There was a conversation about doing a library extension of literacy or a library out there at that building. It was something that he was considering as having a satellite library program out there, and I think that might have been why discussed, and but there was never anything that moved forward from that. We do have there was some conversation as well as about ADA parking spots, and you'll see that in the agreement talking about them needing to. And I think that was part of it, is that if it did end up serving a public purpose, that the city would have to construct the ADA parking lots. Because I don't think there is, because it's not considered a public, it's not, because it's private use. This is why I stand under that use. So that was, I remember that being discussed. But it never moved forward. And I don't remember the particular reasons why.
No, either on that, but now that you say about that satellite library, that makes, the timing makes sense on that.
I just remember that was one of Pedro's interests as a member of that club.
It's been a long time.
Yes,
So,
the timeliness of it is, it's appropriate now, I feel, because we're going to be beginning the next stage of the Veterans Park Trail. And that will be going right by that area, and that area also, the plans are to have potentially additional parking and a playground, a restroom, different things right around that area. And so, once we find out if the Kiwanis, is still existing and whatever, if for some reason they're not, or whatever, it wouldn't be bad for us to know that going into the planning of this new trail and design of it.
We need to know that, we need to know that, whether they do exist.
I mean, they are, I'm just looking at it on social, they
Building?
are active
Plans?
to a certain degree.
I think so.
Say again, Julie? They're active,
I'm
what?
saying, they're just looking at their social media. I mean, they are active to some degree, like they've had continuous posts between July and now. So I think they are operating at least at some level. But what I would just suggest is that we reach out to them and say, hey, the agreement's expired. Are you still interested in, needing a place? If so, we need to get a new agreement in place. And that's what I would, we can kind of entertain that discussion with them.
Yeah, and it'd be good before this, if we're gonna, because if there's not a long-term plan for them to be in that facility, it may play a part in the
Right.
future, or the development of that corner.
Yep.
Because we are looking, as Donnie mentioned, permanent bathrooms, expanded parking, playground, those sorts of things. So it's already a pretty active corner, and with the trail coming along there and being improved, and there's some good opportunities there.
Rob, do you have anything to say to disregard on this agreement? It's been a long time. I didn't realize that. I was looking at who signed it, Gordon Woods. Oh, my gosh.
Does the city have plans to do something different, that area? I mean, what's currently there then?
Yeah, so we have a grant to continue the improved trail that's on the Henderson side that comes up to the skate park, that will continue along solar lit, continue along Newcomb, and then follow along the backside of the slough. And while we're doing that, we're also looking at, there's been part of the Veterans Park Master Plan to do some type of further expansion of the activity area. So right now, there's just an arbor, and you'll see it's pretty heavily used. It's a good size arbor that's there now. So building on that, and you'll see people park all along the street there. So being able to have a parking area, a playground area, permanent restrooms, and additional arbor space kind of along that area. If they're not going to be in that building, then that's where perhaps that building gets repurposed into a restroom facility or something like that. So, especially if you're going to, it's a good sized building.
I've been inside of it. It was years ago, years and years ago.
Last time I was in there was probably 1972.
So long ago, was it?
Back when they used to have Boy Scouts meetings there.
Okay, so you'll be making the connection with the person, and then we'll go from there. And at the next meeting, will we have more information? Okay. Anything else, Vice Mayor?
I would just recommend through that contact person, could we request if there's any board members in place? Just that way they have a voice. And then we could move through the discussion a little bit, maybe quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Maria, is there anything you'd like to add to this? Nothing?
Kind of in a room.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, if they do have all of this stuff, board and all that, then what happens?
Just need to update the
We need
agreement.
to update this because it's been.
Does that
since
change
2000.
our plan? If they're using the building, or?
Well, we would. think, work around the building, most likely. The other, I mean, we could also, I'll definitely ask them if, you know, if they're interested, we'd obviously need to update the agreement, make sure they're willing to adhere to all the bullet points on here, and if they were just looking to have a monthly board meeting or a location like that, if their board is getting smaller or whatever, and they're doing most of the things off-site, or if they feel that what they're offering is not going to be youth related or whatever the case may be, you know, there's potential that one staff recommendation could be we could offer them a meeting space somewhere else too, if they still wish to be, you know.
I'm glad
active,
you
but-
brought that up with regard to something not being youth related. And that they may have had some things that have gone on at the building site, not youth related. That perhaps have been directed, some unpleasantries and directed at other people to that regard. So that, but the emphasis for that is to be youth related and focused. And again, to talk to them, to see if they do wish to continue to be participants.
They don't pay rent or,
No.
they just have to maintain this.
Okay,
In a related note, the subsequent Boy Scouts building is apparently subject to being asked to be dedicated to the city, which is on the backside. There's a separate parcel behind, just off of Plano, just north of the Barn Theater, which you have to go through city property to get to it, which is on a separate parcel, which says it's under the ownership of the Elks Lodge. But apparently they're gonna dedicate it to the city. So there could be an alternative meeting site.
I was just gonna say that might be an
There's a-
alternative site then, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Girl Scout troop that is aware of that information and has their eye on it as well.
oh,
So
okay.
it may not get dedicated.
But I
May
was gonna
stick with the Elks.
I don't
Who
know.
really needs a, I mean, do they rip all, do those, I mean, some of those organizations definitely don't need necessarily a full-time facility, right? They just need space for holding their meetings.
Right, yeah, I know the Boy Scout troop is no longer, they've disbanded that chapter. or whatever,
Okay.
so-
Mhm.
So they're no longer in there. So,
Well, just make, I was contacted about it, and then Jason, right now said that somebody came in with the paperwork to start the process, so. Somebody from the Elks Lodge came in.
Okay. So that will be brought, the Barn Theater will be brought back with that date, the Kiwanis Club information will be brought back to go into other matters. Is there anything else that would need to be added to that? No? Is there anything else that should be brought to our attention?
Well, do we want to handle, are there any other of these that we want to start adding? Because some of these are not going to be super complicated, so. I didn't know if we wanted to try to tackle more than just these.
We can add
Once-
one more if you, I just don't know which one you did.
Commission was another one.
Which one?
Commission.
Oh, we
Mission.
need to bring the commission back. Because we did look at it so that we can bring commission back. Okay. And then schedule another meeting.
Is there any other, so Maria's in the middle of audit, are there any financial considerations? Have you heard anything, member of the public? Public representative, have you heard?
No, nobody's come to me.
Okay. You sure? Okay, she's making sure.
Not about that.
Oh,
Or any other,
Vice Mayor, anything else?
I can't think of anything. I just do agree that it's good to add another agreement onto the agenda. That way we can get through some of them. It seems like we'll be finishing up with Barn Theater.
Yeah,
And this one, I think we can only move in that direction once we get a little bit of more feedback from,
yeah.
Kiwanis.
And we'll need to bring that back, okay. With that being said, we can schedule a meeting in November, and I don't know about this audit committee going dark in December. If we can take care of that now, because there's a lot of festivities the month of December. But come back on the 23rd of November.
Well, that's the week, that's the day before Thanksgiving, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, the 30th. I apologize. The 30th. and
Yeah, I
we
would
go
suggest the 30th.
The 30th, and bringing it to the table now that we go dark and not have a meeting in December, and then we'll start again in January. And I'll look at the calendar for January. Do we want to go ahead and look at the calendar for January?
yes.
Okay. Julia, what date on January?
For me, it looks like,
I don't have January in front of me.
are you guys wanting to stick with the Wednesdays?
Yeah,
I think the the 18th, I have housing authority on the third Wednesdays of the month, but I could do the 25th. We're still able to do a virtual meeting at that point. I've got evening meetings now that I have to, of Zoom meetings on that fourth Wednesday at 6 o'clock, but as long as I can still do Zoom, there's no problem with me doing the 25th. So.
January 25th, okay. So the next two meetings, November the 30th at 4 o'clock. And January the 25th at 4 o'clock. With December, no meeting in December. Okay,
Got it.
if there is nothing further to discuss or bring to the table, it is 4:27 and we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.